Look at it. Cool. So I've got a couple things we can run through with the Python and the Flask and the all the stuff. Um, Before we jump in, is there anything that you're working on that you'd like to get more in depth on, or have any questions, or if you're stuck on anything, or even if something we did before you just want some more clarification on? Uh, I'm open to whatever.
So I have a an issue with the validation. It might be a little bit behind the other folks in here though, so I don't want to take all the time up
That's why we're here.
okay. So I'm having a problem with the validation lab. It looks like my code works, and when I copy paste in the code from the solution, it still doesn't work.
Ah,
So I don't know exactly what I'm doing wrong.
tell me what doesn't work means.
Is
Okay,
it
so
the one to like show the title or something?
yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly.
couldn't pass that even after I copy
Okay,
pasted.
that makes me
Yeah,
feel better because
yeah.
Do you want to go ahead and share your screen? We'll take a look at it.
sure. Just a moment. Let me figure out how. There we go.
Do I have
Disabled, yeah.
enabled? There we go.
Okay. Share screen. This one looks like code. There we go. Is that coming through?
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah, we have uh the function to validate the title here, and when running the test, get my terminal here. When running the test, it's giving these two errors: failed, did not raise, uh, class alchemy integrity error.
Mhm.
I tried asking ChatGPT what an integrity error was, but I didn't really understand its answer. Um, and yeah, again, if I copy paste the solution code in here, it
Mhm.
still doesn't like this thing for some reason.
Cool.
I think
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's possibly because of the way that this is being done. It's saying add author A, add author B, then commit them. Then
Mhm.
it's looking for an error, but
Yeah. Can we take a look at the test file?
yeah, sure thing. Tests models have already been in here. Requires each record to have a name and the unique name. These are the tests.
Okay, and that is not throwing an error like it wants. Is that right?
Right. It's saying uh
Or it is.
it's saying did not raise, and then I'm guessing this is the error that it's supposed to get.
Okay. Can we look at line 33 in that test file and see?
Line 33,
Yeah.
session commit.
So line 28 there is saying with uh raises integrity error. Um, and it's we want to raise that because it has the same name as the other one. Let's take a look at um our migrations or our models, I guess.
Okay.
And so validates name. While authors and then
I did this to practice. I don't think it's relevant to this code, but that does work too.
um
I
so
thought it might be ruining something, so I took it out.
it's looking for an integrity error, is that right?
That's what it says, integrity error.
What if we uh raise the integrity error instead of value error there?
It says that it doesn't exist.
Really?
Yeah. Might be something we have to import.
Maybe. Let's see. And
Yeah. It gives me the
not
is
defined.
not defined.
Hmm. Why can't I just accept that? You need to import it. Yeah. From where is the thing? Is it in the test file? Is it imported in the test file?
Testing models, import
Hey,
integrity
there we
error from
go.
S. Okay.
So let's import that and throw that error and
I'm
see.
gonna grab this whole line just in case. Yes, there's nothing from SQL Alchemy EXC yet.
Mhm.
Okay, now we'll try to run the tests and see what happens. Uh, I've got one test now failing that wasn't before.
Cool.
Oh,
Um,
I did already. Did I need to like install or something?
um, that's probably from SQL Alchemy, right? Yeah. So I imagine that's already
Yeah.
installed. So what's the new error?
The new failed test is in the post one. So post models requires each record to have a title. Did not. Okay, same thing. Maybe because this did work though.
Hmm.
Where is it? Posts down further. Yeah, this is still saying value error, but again, it's the same thing. It's just checking to see if the title has any value, right? So maybe this needs to be integrity as well. But it was passing before and now it's failing.
Interesting.
Am I spelling that right?
INTEG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, not certain.
um, so the actual question is here, are is it raising the value error that you had before?
Right,
Because that's what we actually want. If the tests are not working, I don't really care about that. What we really care about is whether it's you're doing the validations right.
right. And again, the code is pretty identical. I'm pretty sure that that it's validating the right thing
Mhm.
correctly. Um, it's just I don't know how to check that, I guess.
Yeah.
Should I revert these to the
Yeah, let's revert
value error?
those. And on the command line, if you just pop that open, um, you can do a Flask shell, and that should you should be able to do some commands through that. Yeah.
Gonna have to
Nope.
be in a pipenv shell probably.
Oh yeah. Such a clean, elegant command line. Good
Yeah.
job.
You
uh,
know, I've got it running over here already, so you can just
cool. Sweet.
okay.
So just yeah, just grab some of that um up there and see what we get. Awesome.
It's a thing.
Cool.
Okay.
Let's throw an author B there.
One more time.
Yeah, let's do author B and
Author. Okay, grab him too. Yeah.
yeah. And that should throw an error there. Check author B.
Uh, would we need to
Oh yeah,
commit
do
it
the
to the
commit and all that
database
stuff. Yeah.
first?
Sorry.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna type some of this to be a little faster than copy pasting, I think. Okay.
Probably will throw another commit, hopefully. Nope. Let's try the other ones.
Okay. And then this is the same thing. So this is off the bottom of the screen. It's
Okay,
not
so
helping,
it's
I'm
not
sure.
showing any errors there. Um, let's take a
So
look at.
maybe it's not actually working.
Yeah, maybe it's not actually working.
Let
Uh,
me.
Did you have something, Saki?
yeah, I don't know if that matters, but author A doesn't have to be like committed before we commit author B
Um,
That's
to
what
the
I was wondering.
database. Yeah.
yeah, let's try that
Oh boy, why is it jumping around my
because it
screen
should
here?
be commit all. Yeah,
Okay, so I'm gonna close this and then redo it, and
yeah,
then author A,
and then commit that. Yeah,
then commit author A, session commit. There we are.
and then try author B.
I'm gonna.
I don't think you added author A
Oh,
before
yep.
committing.
What did
So
I miss? Oh, session add author A.
yeah,
Okay. Should still be able to do that, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now he's committed. And now we'll add author E
Aha, there we go.
there. Okay. Name
So
already in use. So it did throw the right error.
it looks like the test is not right then because the test
Yeah.
is during the commit, right?
So we'll modify the test. Maybe that'll
Yeah.
work. So here in the tests, and that's what we're here. That's models test. That's what I'm looking for. And then maybe just like move.
Yeah, just throw just copy. If you do option shift up arrow, that'll copy the line, and then you can option up arrow the.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a faster way to do that. All
yeah.
right.
I
That's
bet
what we're
that
looking for though, right?
that test will pass now. Hopefully.
Should pass now. Control C. Oh my goodness. I don't know what's up with my terminal today. Just wants to do whatever it wants to do color wise. No.
Oh, because it's still raising the other error. Instead of throwing the integrity error, let's have it. Since we're changing the test, let's have it check for that value error instead.
Oh, right, because we're using value error still. That's
Yeah.
why it's doing that. So where did it what line was it that it was
So on 28 there, where it's pi testing,
28
pi
pi
test.
test integrity? We want value.
Yeah.
Just seeing where they all are. Oops. This is my workflow is to fumble around until things work.
Yep, that is how programming works.
Oh boy. There we go. Still failing.
So it's still not raising that value error. Do you still have the Flask shell up in your terminal that you can scroll up to?
Yep. This one right here.
The one that, yeah. Can we see what error it threw back up there?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Is
It is throwing a value error. Yeah.
did I spell something wrong maybe?
Alueerror. Yeah, that looks right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know.
Broken
Was anyone
test.
else able to get this test working? If not, I would call it good because it seems like you know what you're doing, which is the part that we care about.
Yeah. I have an idea of what I'm doing. It's just this is the kind of error that's been kind of like uh, why I've been progressing slowly through this
Yeah.
content because it's things where I'm not exactly sure if the error is because the tests are messed up or if it's because I did something wrong. And then,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, and I think so. My philosophy on the tests in the labs, I mean, step zero, I don't trust them all the time because so in in a regular project environment, you will write your tests that fail, then you will write code that passes those tests, and if it's not passing for some reason, that's where you're doing your debugging. Am I writing it wrong? Am I writing the test wrong? And so on.
mhm,
um, or you might have a test engineer doing that for that, in which case that's their job, and they should be good at it. um, and having the way that labs here or anywhere use tests is a little bit unnatural because it's still exercising your code, um, but it's more for it's less does this code work, and more so you don't have to worry about if you did it right or not. And if the tests don't work, that's a problem there. So um my philosophy with y'all with tests is and ideally with code challenges should be, but that's another talk, is if you feel like you understand it, and when you kind of test it manually it works the way you think it does, you know you don't the tests don't need to pass, like you're not being graded on those, um technically. So yeah, I would say use your own judgment. If you're able to do that and it works, you pass the test whether the test pass or not. I'll raise an issue with curriculum again about this one, and see if we can get that fixed up for future. Did anyone? I'm talked over, I guess. Did anyone get these tests working in this lab, or have you got there yet?
Yeah, mine was working.
Yours was working. Can we see
Yeah,
yours? Would you be willing?
sure.
All right, let me unshare here. I think it's just
Yeah.
escape. Did you modify the tests, Colin?
No, I didn't. So can you see it?
Just that good. Can
Yes.
you bump it up just a
Wow.
little bit? The size?
Oh, like zoom in.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
So I kind of did it with like it. I would just check it if it's not there,
hmm
then I'm raising. I wasn't really checking the length of it.
hmm
Maybe that has to do with it. But
That your code looks very similar to the solution code. It's not exactly the same, but similar, and that code didn't work either. I guess I haven't tried it since we fiddled with the tests,
like I
but
can run it right, but and it passes them. I don't.
magic.
I
Hmm.
didn't have any issues with it. Like I don't know. I don't think it's because I was doing it exceptionally well. I just maybe just got lucky or something.
hmm
Yeah,
But
but I mean, well, there's something. There's got to be something. I wonder. Yeah, I've still got it. I've still got the
Hmm.
solution. That's a different one. This one.
I wonder if that's pointing at a problem somewhere else. Hmm. You know what? Let me go ahead and grab this lab down and I'll see if it runs for me. Mm, that.
I can confirm it still doesn't work using the similar code.
Hmm.
Maybe it's slightly maybe Colin's code's slightly different from the code that they have in the solution
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's
in a
something
way
somewhere
that's
else that's kind
changing
of tripping
something.
it up. For Flask. No, Python P4. That's what Python P4 validation. Okay. Oh, hey, VS Code, what's up? Aren't you starting up? There we go. Cool. Let me open up a shell. Install. And I'm just gonna switch over to the solution branch. Cool. Mm, I should probably run all the Flask DB upgrade.
Oh, if we could just quickly touch on the Flask shell
Mhm.
and like when for like debugging it, that would be helpful. I know we've done like um Pi shell. Maybe that's
Mhm.
not it even, but yeah,
Yeah,
just what they do.
yeah. So, do you have specific questions, or should I just start talking and you stop when it hits what you want?
Um yeah, well, I mean, I hadn't even really heard of it until I was watching a couple of the like explanation videos and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Okay,
What
cool.
do?
Let's see. Shell. So, basically, what the Flask shell does is it looks at your application. So, back up a step. Your app.py or whatever you're calling it, and all the associated stuff is just a Python program, right? And when we do Flask run or do Python app.py or whatever, we're just running that program. It's just like any other Python program that you've written. Um, this program happens to uh, start up a server by listening on a port and catching responses and responding to them. So when you run it, it is starting up that server and just running the server, as is. Flask shell is a utility in the Flask library that looks at your server app and instead of running it fully, it grabs the Flask instance in there when you do like app equals whatever. It takes that and kind of like runs it in a simulated environment, so you can test all that stuff from that shell without having to run it and send requests and debug and all that stuff. Does that kind of help a little bit?
Yeah, it does. I just was like very unfamiliar with
Yeah.
when, why, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, it's like instead of your program running the server, it's kind of like you're pretending to be the program and poking at it like that. Um, Let me see. Okay, let me run PyTest. Let's see what we get. Yep. Okay, mine's all green. So, question, Jason. So, do you have your code all committed?
No,
Go ahead
but I
and commit it,
can.
and then commit it or stash it, whichever you like, and then just switch to the solution branch and see if you can run PyTest from there that works.
Okay.
If that doesn't work, that means there's something else broken somewhere else, which is concerning.
I'm not certain the full process to do that.
So you can either do it from the command line with git checkout solution, or if you're in VS Code, on the lower left is should say the name of your branch or main, and you can just
Okay.
click that and select solution from there.
So the solution is on the learn co branch and or branch fork.
Yeah, I don't think you cloned down.
And
I don't think we cloned
I
down
don't
the
clone down the
solution
solution.
branch.
I think you
Yeah.
can, but
Yeah.
I don't usually do that. I try not to reference it until I'm like 45 minutes into thinking about something.
Yeah.
So
Do you see where it says main on your VS Code on the lower left?
on VS Code, yep.
Click on that and see if the other branches show up.
Uh, it, I don't believe so.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Can you share your screen again so I can take a look?
sure.
Not that I would trust you, but
I wouldn't trust me. All right.
cool. So if we click on main down
Yep.
there, what do we see? Interesting, fascinating. And so you forked this and you didn't clone it, right?
Right. I forked it and then cloned it from my fork.
Yeah.
So here is just the GitHub page for it. It's got Jason Ambrose.
Okay, cool.
And there's no solution here.
No solution. I wonder why it's you can fork over
You-
with the other branches, but I think you need to say that.
Yeah, you have to like click a checkbox to tell it to do that.
Yeah.
I can
Can you just
there might be
yeah.
there might be something small that I did that I shouldn't have. Like I don't know, Saki, did you by chance like add these associations to yours, like relationships and things? I don't know if maybe that throws something in the tests off because the tables are a different size now, or
Let's see. Yeah, I mean the
Sorry, where? The relation?
like the relationships, these things,
Oh, author, hold on.
and then the because I did add them
Where
at
did it
first. I
go?
removed them because I thought they might be breaking something. And the tests weren't really asking for them, so
I didn't.
Hmm.
Maybe that's the problem.
well,
I don't know.
I don't think it's the problem.
Yeah.
But I was curious if you had, because that's the only
Yeah, I didn't add it.
Can you go to the GitHub, the solution branch there, and just copy
yeah.
the entire I guess app PY and models PY, and we'll see if that works or not. And then if it does, let's take a look at what that difference is.
So I don't think anything has changed in app, but we'll do that. Go to solutions,
Oh yeah, it's probably just models then.
servers. I'll do it anyway because it's going to take like 2 seconds. So got it right here.
The one thing I've been curious about is why your Flask migrate has a warning underline on it.
Um, these for me, they're just always there.
Huh.
I've always got some kind of warnings up here, and it generally works.
Interesting.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it just seems like a quirk with VS Code for some reason. But I mean, it's possible it's causing something. I mean, it's in the pip file and all of that too. I always check to make sure that
Yeah.
what
I
it's
mean,
looking
if it
for
wasn't
is-
working, it would blow up immediately. So
yeah. So now we're doing models.
yeah, let's throw those models in there. And if this
Solution
doesn't work, that tells us that something else is wrong.
models. We'll just grab all of it this time, not just the relevant section. Did that work? I don't have enough screen. There we go. Looks like it. And then moment of truth, I suppose.
Ah,
Something new.
can we run the uh DB upgrade, Flask DB upgrade, just to make sure that we're in the right
Sure.
place there? Or I guess do the auto generate
Yeah.
thing, the Flask the revision, blah, 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 all that stuff, and then do the upgrade. I'm wondering if it was something else in the tables.
I think this is like test 5, but that's fine. And then Flask DB upgrade.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh,
constraint must have a name. What if, this might be. I'll leave it. You let me know if I should scroll up. This is a word
yeah,
search for me.
I don't see anything useful there, but maybe if you scroll up a little bit, there might be something at the top. Nope. Fascinating.
I could just try to like manually delete the migrations and instance and like rebuild
Yeah, well, let's
the
try that.
database.
Yeah, nuke it from orbit. The only way to be sure.
And then remember the things I have to type here. The last DB init.
Use the up arrow to get the.
It's this thing, right?
Yep.
Grade. And now
Nope. Fascinating. What's the first thing that's failing up there?
first thing that's failing is this is new. New errors are good. Oh wow. It's all kinds of stuff going on here. I'm not sure exactly. So first thing's failing. Okay, so now it's these two that are failing. This one is passing. And I'm not exactly certain.
Scroll down just a little bit. It's so weird that it's not being all that code. A little bit more until we get to the next error part there. Yeah, there. Wow, that's not useful at all. Unique constraint failed, author's name. But that is the same code.
Yeah, I might have messed something up at some point. I'm thinking I put a comma somewhere in one of the other files and it's making everything not work right at this point. I could just like delete the whole thing and just try it from scratch, I guess.
Yeah.
See if I can try to be careful about what I manipulate.
Yeah,
And
I'm so curious about what it could be. I would almost say go like back out of directory and then reclone it down.
Yeah.
And you can just clone from the learn co one because you're not going to be pushing it up. And just switch to the solution branch there. If the solution branch doesn't work, if you just like directly clone it and try it out, that might mean there's something wrong with your setup, which is good to know. But yeah, and if it doesn't, that means that you changed something in here that broke everything.
Yeah, I'll play with it.
Cool.
We can move along. I'll see if I can do that. I'm sure I just changed something somewhere slightly and it's not cooperating because of that. So,
yeah.
And if all else fails, I'll reinstall Python, I guess. Got me through phase 3.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's real interesting. Let me know if you find anything.
Will do.
Cool. What else do we want to talk about? I guess since we're like at validations here, does anyone have any other questions or are you confused about how validations work? I guess. Sounds good. Um, eat my lunch cookie off screen. Um, yeah. Um, how about the sequelizers? See, not sequelizers, serializers. Um, anyone get to that and or have questions about it?
And maybe about like the serializer rules a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like what you're supposed to ignore when you're
Yeah,
serializing it a little bit.
I agree. I feel like I tried to look
Yeah,
up
it's a
like
little confusing.
documentation and like there was none.
Yeah, the documentation is not great. um, can you dial it in a little bit for me so I can kind of think about exactly where we want to talk about?
Well, it's like you have two tables and one has a foreign key of another. So you don't want to serialize what's going to be in the other table because then you'll be serializing it twice, right? That's kind of my understanding of it.
Yeah.
And it'll throw an error, right? If you try to
Yeah,
query
like the
that.
recursion
Circular.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So do we have it here in the I know I saw it somewhere. I don't think that is that in the labs anywhere. I can't find it. Hmm. Serializer mix-in, serializer dim. Interesting. I think maybe it was in one of Ix's lectures. Yeah. So when you do the to dict thing, so you've got your model item, you do to dict, and then you can give it rules as parameters. So you say rules equals, and then some stuff in quotes. Those rules are where you can either, I think rarely is where you want to actually include stuff that's not there. And that's usually stuff that is not in SQL Alchemy already. So if you wanted to include some other information that you've generated somewhere else, you can include that. More commonly, I think you're going to see the minus rules. So it's, in quotes, it's minus and then a field or a relation. So like if you had a username with a password question in that, you wouldn't want to return that all the time. So you would serialize it or do the to dict rules equals quote minus password question. And if you want to do the same thing with a relation, you just give it the relation. So the recipe has ingredients and if the ingredients maybe say recipes in there or for whatever reason you don't want to include the recipes in there, then you would say recipe to dict and in there rules equals minus um, ingredients. And then if you wanted to drill down, you could drill down more for that. Is that kind of what you're asking about? Cool. have you tried it and used it successfully? Or are you having trouble getting it work, or is it just a conceptual thing that we're struggling with?
It's kind of more of like the conceptual thing for me, like knowing when to use it and when not to use it, because I don't want to be like, I guess ignoring stuff that I might need, right?
Yeah, and that is entirely dependent on your use case, right? If you're writing a debugger tool or whatever, that you need all of the information from your object stream, you're not going to exclude anything. If you, for some reason, have a route that's just like, get me this organization's name, you would exclude everything but the name, right? And there's a lot of space in between. So that entirely depends on your user stories and your use case. Common. So the two big common things that I think you're going to see are excluding a relationship, so there's no circular stuff in there. So back to the like recipe example. Recipe has many ingredients, and for some reason, we decided to make recipe a relationship back there. In the ingredients one, we would want to exclude the that circular relationship. So that's where you're probably going to see it a lot in this context. Is just making sure that you're not having the circular stuff in there. I don't know if labs hit that or not. I think it's in the lectures I posted. I can't remember if that's in a lab. Have you seen that exclusion stuff in a lab?
I think it is in one of the earlier ones, but I couldn't tell you which one it's in.
I was looking right now. I think it's in the building a get API lab or something.
Yeah, it's one of the earlier ones, I think, right?
Yeah,
Kale?
yeah. Yeah.
Serialize. How does to dict to dict see the rules there. Oh, there we go. Serialized rules. Yeah, so I'm looking at that that first one that has the game and reviews. And yeah, I think that's a let me check that one more time. Make sure I'm not lying. Yeah, exactly. So in this one, you have a game that has many reviews, and you want to make sure that you're not including the, like, if you have you don't want to have like the reviews of the game, other reviews, and so on. So you'd set the rules, and yeah, I guess you can set that in just the serializer rules, instead of including it with your toDict each time. But that's where you're going to say in your model, when you're including your serializer mixin, that's where you'll say like, oh, don't include this field or that field. Number one way to tell if you want to do that is if you try to use it and you either get a whole bunch of stuff that you don't want, or it throws a recursion error. That's a pretty clear one. Yeah, so that's cool. And then, like I said, the other case is when you don't want to return sensitive information, or just cluttered information. Like most fields, or a lot of what them, are going to have a created date, created time, and update time. You usually don't care about returning those, so you'll often exclude those when you're returning a serialized object. Or yeah, like if there's a password field or something that shouldn't be there, just excluding that. So yeah, I guess looking at that, the Get API lab with the exclusions, is there any confusion about those or questions we want to talk about there? Feeling all right there? Anyone else?
I feel like for me it was just the kind of syntax of it. Like so you have like your relation, you define the relationship, and you have to use that variable in the serialized rules. and like dot kind of the current class that you're in. Yeah, I guess it's just practice with it, honestly.
Yeah, and maybe it's confusing because you're not actually, you don't need to reference the class that you're in. So say we have the game that has reviews, and we don't want to include the reviews, we would just say reviews minus reviews because that's the field that we're including. Or if we don't want to include the games that are associated with reviews in the game, then we would exclude reviews not game. So basically, it's just like accessing a field through brackets or dot notation. It's just that syntax that you'd use. It maybe the missing piece is that it assumes that you're working in the context of the class. So it's just saying, hey, exclude these from me, and it kind of leaves out the me part, which, yeah, that makes sense. That it would be a little bit confusing there. Yeah, is that kind of the area that's
Yeah, exactly.
cool? Yeah, and I think that is just practice, and that's really the way, the way to play with that is write your exclusions and then try it out in the Flask shell or do a get request and see if A, it's erroring out because of the recursion, or B, if it's giving you too much stuff that you don't want. Then start playing around with like excluding stuff and seeing what works. Does that help at all?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it feels like we kind of gloss over serialization stuff because as long as you're including that serializer mix in, it just does a lot of stuff automatically for you. The only real configuration we have to do is that exclusions. I think, I'll look at the documentation. I think there are other uses for serializers, and that would be yeah. So basically, if you want to like when you return something, format the fields in a certain way. If you I don't know, if you're keeping cost as an integer that is number of cents, and when you return the object you want to include it as like dollar numbers dot cents, you can serialize it in a specific format. I think that's a little bit past where we're at with it, but if you I think it's in the in that lab there's a link to the SQL Alchemy serializer documentation, and about halfway down there's custom formats. If you're already having trouble with it, I wouldn't worry about it. But it's a fun thing that you can do. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's about it. We have a chat question. Death by a million recursions, exactly. Cool. What else do we want to talk about?
I did confirm the problem was with my code somewhere.
Aha. Any idea what it was?
Not at all. I'll figure that out later.
Fair. Cool. Yeah, sometimes it feels like Python is not great at pinpointing errors when it throws messages. Sometimes it is. And that's not just Python thing, that's Ruby thing too, I guess. But yeah. Cool. Anything else we want to talk about or go through? Feeling all right so far? Okay, cool. We'll wrap it here. I'll post this if anyone wants to watch it. Yeah, and again, if you have questions or you just want to talk through anything else, give me a holler and we'll do that. Sound good? Awesome. I'll see y'all later on.